As one of the shows on the Arrowverse, The Flash has a lot to keep up with. The image of these popular CW shows is everything, and the huge portion of the budget for each of them goes towards making them look amazing. Obviously, none of the superhero movies and TV shows, from the huge cinematic Marvel masterpieces down to the TV shorts, would be anywhere near as loved if it wasn't for all the crazy visual effects. We've had a sneaky peek at what The Flash looks like without the CGI. And today, we're bringing all the info to you. The Flash is definitely known amongst DC fans for its image and vibe being, well, flashy. The costumes are bright and colorful, and having lots of dynamic CGI visual effects makes the whole world look more vivid and surreal. Most of the main cast in the Arrowverse have impressive superpowers, and many of these characters are also featured heavily in The Flash. There's always something crazy going on that just can't be replicated in real life. And the CGI team have a lot of work to do to make it look real. The finished product is so polished and well done that you don't even think about how it looks without all the special effects. A small clip got circulated a while ago with a glimpse into exactly this. It's clearly a shot of a fight scene, and the Flash and Supergirl are getting right in on the action. The finished scene used in the show is crazy. We see the Flash using his powers to summon wind armor to protect himself, and Supergirl drops down from flight to land in front of him, powerfully slamming into the ground, sending debris flying. The actual video from on set is somewhat less dramatic. From a start, the whole camera crew is surrounding these two actors, watching their every move, which is pretty funny by itself. But the best part is, on the higher part of set, you've got Grant Gustin, who plays the Flash, standing with his arms stuck out, looking like he's concentrating really hard on something. Then he starts moving his arms in circles, still looking like he's trying to remember something he's forgotten. He looks completely ridiculous. And then you see below him, Melissa Benoist leaping up as high as she can and landing back on the floor again. She isn't wearing any wires to help her jump, and neither is there a springboard. She is literally jumping up and down on the spot as though her life depends on it. The best part of this scene is that obviously both of the actors are in costume, but because there are no flashy effects on show, it all looks a little mundane and, dare we say, boring. It's like watching cosplayers ham it up playing pretend, but there's a group of crew guys standing around watching. They must feel at least a little bit silly. It must be super hard to make it look serious and convincing when you're just waving your arms around like that. But the end result is amazing, and the actors are super professional and hide any embarrassment really well. Other fans online have seen this footage and love it just as much as we do. On Reddit, one user commented, "The CGI teams are rock stars. Supergirl's special effects are better on CW than CBS. CBS is a big 3 network and must have twice the budget for the show than CW." And another commented, "They should release this version so everyone would appreciate the CGI team even more." It's amazing that the CGI artists are getting so much love, as they are a huge part of what the show is about and how it's made. Without them, there would be no on-screen magic, and by seeing how ridiculous it looks without it, you can appreciate all the hard work they do. Some of the comments were a little more, shall I say, ruthless? LOL, this is almost hard to watch. Imagine filming this? I'd feel so awkward. Don't care how much CGI you put on it or how practical it is, that arm funnel thing is so dumb and I love it. I mean, these comments are not wrong. It reminds me an awful lot of playing pretend in the playground in school, except with cool costumes and cameras. Out of all the episodes in the Flash TV show, there is one that stands out for having incredible CGI. That episode, as I'm sure you can guess, is episode 13 of season 3, Attack on Gorilla City. The character of Grodd himself, the famous villain from the Flash comics, is obviously a huge, super-powered gorilla. There is no way that this character could be convincingly created for a live-action series without the use of CGI, and Grodd is basically entirely digitally added in. Attack on Gorilla City is the most expensive episode on the show to date, and much of that budget went on the CGI used in the episode. Not only is Grodd himself, the ruler of the city, digitally added in, but the other residents of the city are all gorillas too, and all CGI. Even the set itself is CGI, as they couldn't really build an ancient gorilla temple when they could just design one on a computer. Obviously, building real-life sets is amazing when it's done correctly, but instead of spending ages advantages having a crew make a bunch of smaller, super detailed sets. It's much easier to have green screens with computer-generated landscapes. That way, they can make the whole place look expensive and vast. This two-part episode features other gorillas from the city in battle gear, as they're getting ready to launch an attack on the central city, and also guard the Colosseum between fighting matches there. Each one of these gorillas had to be digitally created from the ground up, each hair on their bodies programmed to behave in a certain way. The armor for each one is unique and battle-worn, and it must have taken a long time and tons of care to make this work as well as it does. The actors here also did a really good job to make you feel as though you were really in a completely different world, rather than as they were watching a bunch of guys in costumes talking to the air in a green screen room. The effects team spared no efforts when it came to building the city itself. The CGI team built the city from scratch, and without CGI for those aerial shots, there is literally nothing there. The entire thing was created digitally, and it is amazing. Footage from behind the scenes shows how the artists started with a base, then added details in layers in different programs to end with the incredible jaw-dropping results we have at the end. The scene of Barry fighting in the Colosseum was actually the brainchild of the effects supervisor, Armen Kevorkian. To demonstrate the setup he had created for the gorillas in the battle armor, he made a short scene to show the writers and producers what it would look like for the Flash to be pitted against a huge armored gorilla. He showed the rest of the creators the work he had done, and they loved it so much. They decided that they wanted a scene just like it in the final episode, and so the famous fight scene was born. It might be hard to believe, but that whole location is green screened in. Behind the scenes footage reveals that the Flash is being thrown around a gently padded screened room with nobody else in there. Literally everything else that you see on the screen is added afterwards. The digital team must have worked their butts off to make it look so perfect. The enormous white gorilla that Barry fights here is one of the digital team's proudest assets. He was based on real-life albino gorillas, and the creative team took great care to pay attention to the way the fur gradients and how the eyes and skin look to make sure it looked super realistic and believable, as there were a lot of close-up shots of the character during their fight. They wanted it to look perfect. The following episode, Attack on Central City, featured Grodd sitting in his gleaming golden armor atop a huge extravagant throne overlooking all of Gorilla City. He's talking to Gypsy, telling her about his plan to occupy the city. The shot is incredible as the camera pans back and reveals the gorilla army beneath them. But in reality, this is just another empty green cube of a room with one single actor inside it. The character of Gypsy is in the middle of a green screen room talking to a pole with a ball on it, which shows her where Grodd is supposed to be so that she can look in the right place. It looks super weird to see because you know what the finished version looks like, of course. It just goes to show how much work the CGI team does on the show and how long it must have taken to get everything to look perfect. This is why production time can be so long. Thanks for watching today, guys. Have you seen any other Arrowverse shows without CGI? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.